Smash Ultimate has a problem that isn't the really bad online, or Minecraft Steve, or some other third thing. This problem is more like a missed opportunity, and that is Echo Fighters. These were hyped up to be kind of a big deal. They had their own segment in the Smash Ultimate reveal trailer, but really they didn't amount to much. And if you're like me, you have asked this question many times before: what would these characters be like if they weren't Echo Fighters, if they had their own movesets designed just for them? Well, we are about to answer that question thanks to Q-Draw Remix, also known as HDR. Now, this is a mod pack that vastly changes the gameplay of the game, and it would be a disservice to say that it makes it play like Melee. I mean, that's kind of true, but it does so much to the entire cast and to so much that would be an understatement or an oversimplification of what they do. So we're going to take a look at some of the characters, some of the Echo Fighters and their originals, and we're just going to see what they did. Now, this is not going to be exhaustive by any means. I'm not going to be able to go through everything because there is just so much, and I'm not going to... I just wouldn't be able to hit everything. There would certainly be something I would miss, but I do want to take a look at some of this stuff. So first, we're going to start with, of course, Daisy. So pretty much every character in HDR has changes, and a lot of the time it just ends up being a difference in like properties for a certain move. But many times you will see fully custom animations, fully custom like coded moves. So this is going to be more than just looking at like down tilt goes at a 45-degree angle instead of a 37-degree angle. We're going to see a lot of different changes. So starting with Daisy, the biggest thing is that she now has a triple jump, and she keeps her float, but her float is much shorter to compensate for the fact that she also has a triple jump. So you can see that barely lasts at all. And it is not dependent on which jump you're on. Her float is always that distance, or that length of time, I should say. So compared to Peach, who I'm pretty sure has her vanilla ultimate length. So yeah, a very interesting change they made here where you can kind of keep your float, but it's really not going to be something crazy, and it's really going to be like, I feel like mostly used for like doing combos on the ground rather than actually using it for some kind of recovery, because you know, you're out here, you triple jump, you're already falling by the time you're basically done with your triple jump. So very interesting change that I kind of like. Now, of course, tilts and, you know, grab throws, things like that, all kind of have some changes, but they aren't really the stars of the show, so to speak. Like you can see up tilt is actually Melee Peach's up tilt, I want to say. Melee and Brawl, I believe. But, you know, they're not the stars of the show. Although you can see the frying pan makes an appearance with her forward air. Wow, I did not think that would kill. Of course, smash attacks and special attacks are what everyone wants to see. So first, let's look at forward smash, which is now just the tennis racket. If you do up and down, you do not change which piece of equipment you're using, unlike Peach, where if you do up, you get the frying pan, you do down, you get the tennis racket, and normal, neutral is the golf club. But the difference is if you hold up, you send them flying upwards. If you do down, you send them flying at a sort of downward angle. And if you do nothing, they just get sent flying normally. So nice little change there where they keep the functionality of the direction, but they're not changing the actual move you're using. And I want to say it still kind of makes like the same, like in effect, it is the same thing as Peach's. They just kept the tennis racket for all three. Up smash is not totally different. It is, I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure the damage, the percent, the angle is all different. But, you know, as far as what it looks like, pretty much the same as in regular Ultimate. Down smash, still the spin move, but it of course sends in a different direction. It actually pops them up so you can kind of do a follow-up. Whereas with Peach's and in Vanilla Ultimate, it sort of sends them outwards, so you really can't get a follow-up going. And now we've got special moves. So first is of course neutral special, which is no longer Toad. It is giant crystals that come out of the ground. Now, if I understand it right, this is based on one of the Mario Strikers games, and one of the special moves that she can do in that game. But it doesn't just have a grounded version. If you do it in the air, she gets Terry's power dunk. Like, pretty much literally Terry's power dunk, and then the crystals pop out of the ground wherever she lands. And I believe we can get Peach off stage here. There we go. It definitely spikes. I didn't get to do the full move, but it definitely, there's a spike hitbox. And I want to say it's probably kind of early. So if you try to do it late, I mean, you can still sort of send them downward like that, but there is definitely a spike hitbox to it. Oh, and I died. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Up Special because I kind of just spoiled it. Up Special is kind of a Shoryuken with an ice crystal fist thing that is similar to what she uses when she uses her neutral special. And it's kind of like a Shoryuken, so they kind of just gave Daisy 2 different fighting game character moves. They gave her Terry's power dunk, and then they've got Ken and Ryu's Shoryuken. So, you know, the devs kind of just made her a fighting game character in a little bit of a sense, which I think is pretty cool. Now, Side Special is largely unchanged. Obviously, the direction and damage and stuff is going to be a little different, but it is, in essence, the same move. And then we've got Down Special, which has her pluck not a turnip, but the little carrot from Super Mario Land 2. Yes, the carrot that makes Mario be Bunny Mario, or whatever that is called, Rabbit Mario. And unlike Peach's turnips, they do not have the property where they will have different faces. At least I am like 99% sure. They will all be the same face, and they will all do the same damage range. So you don't have any RNG going on there, unlike Peach, where you can pull, like, you know, the shocked face, the dot eyes, the stitch face. This is completely the same projectile, the same damage every single time. But we're not done with Daisy just yet, because of course we have to look at taunts. So her up taunt and her side taunt are the same, but her down taunt now has her do a sort of cheeky little animation, which I'm going to actually slow down the speed for just a hair. We're going to make it half speed, because she licks her thumb, touches herself on the side or the butt or whatever, and then she sort of is smoking, because I guess she's smoking. But that's not the only change to her taunts. It's common in mods to have what's called a smash taunt, which is something where if you do a 1-frame input on their taunt, something will happen, something different than their normal taunt. So if you smash taunt on Daisy's side taunt, you get the talking flowers from Super Mario Wonder. Yep, so they pop up, they say a little voice line from the game, and then they disappear, and they've got the speech bubble, which I think is really cool. I mean, this would definitely have made some kind of an appearance in Smash Ultimate if Mario Wonder had come out first, especially now considering how much they love to use those talking flowers. So he wants to eat me. So yeah, that is Daisy. Very cool moveset, very cool differences. And honestly, it's something that, like, I kind of wish that's how it worked, where like 70% of the character was the same, but then you've got like some core differences. Obviously, the HDR team made her much different than Peach. But like, if most of the things were the same, but then there was like a very core difference, I think that like Echo Fighters would be a much cooler element and a much cooler addition to the game. So next up we have Dark Samus, and like Daisy, she has a change to her jump, and it is a float, if you can believe it. If you do the float input, she can, you know, float very briefly up in the air. No triple jump, obviously, but she is different from Daisy because her float is omnidirectional. So you can do upwards, you can do downwards, you can do side to side. You can do any direction you want while the float lasts. So if you've played Project M, Project Plus, and you've played Mewtwo, the float is very similar to that. So very cool change, very Dark Samus-y, I think. So a good change for her character. So again, things like tilts are a little bit different, a little bit the same. They are, you know, a little more underwhelming, I guess. Not necessarily that they are bad changes or anything, just like they aren't the interesting part of the moveset. So let's look at smash attacks. So first is a forward smash, where, you know, it's just a forward smash. Up smash is the same animation, but I think now it is a single hit no matter where you get hit. So rather than trying to hope and pray that you are going to connect the multi-hit and it's actually going to work, you can just, you can just throw this move out, and if it hits at all, it's going to hit. It's going to hit no matter what, and it's just going to do that single hit. Like, for example, the end there. Samus got hit by the end of the hitbox, but she got sent flying in the same way. So definitely a good change, because they have been trying to get that multi-hit working for 25 years now, and it will not function right like half the time. So definitely the preferred change. And while we're at it, this is something that I know. Samus has a different up smash as well, which instead knocks the enemy upward and then hits a blast from the arm cannon. So they both do not have their silly little multi-hit move, which, like I said, Sakurai, give up the multi-hits. And then we've got down smash, which is very similar to a move I believe she has as her assist trophy version in both Brawl and Smash 4. It's kind of funny. When she got promoted to a full fighter, she actually became less representative of her source material than she was as an assist trophy, because as an Echo fighter, they just made her Samus but darker. And as an assist trophy, she kind of does have that energy, organic stuff going on. So that always interested me, that they made her less accurate when making her a fighter. Her aerials aren't too terribly interesting. For her forward air, she's got a swipe attack now, which I believe is from Project M, Project Plus. Her up air kind of is a swipe upward, which, whatever. That's kind of just a different move. Back air is her kick, and down air is her little spike type move. So none of them are too interesting, but the big change is her neutral air, which is now a multi-hit sort of shocking move, kind of like Pikachu's. So if you were to use your float and then carry them, you can kind of use that in tandem, and then, just kind of get a combo going using that. So very cool, and again, very kind of appropriate for her character, which is weird. I mean, it's weird to say that the fan projects always are more faithful, but in this case, it's kind of the truth. So her neutral special is the charge shot, of course, but when it's fully charged, it goes very slow. Again, making a Project M comparison, similar to the Aura Sphere that Lucario has. It just goes very slow, so it's kind of a very menacing threat there. It's also probably similar to one of Samus's custom moves in Smash 4, if I'm being honest. But yeah, that is charge shot. And then, of course, you don't have to charge it up all the way. But I think the bigger it gets, the slower it goes, which is kind of cool. Next, we have side special, which is, again, something slow. It takes a very long time to actually get going, and then, it's pretty quick. So the other thing, of course, is, you might have just seen there, is it becomes heat-seeking. So it kind of locks onto the general area you're in, and if you are still in that area, it will follow you, and, you'll get hit. So don't do that. Then we've got down special, which is dropping the little bomb, but it doesn't explode for a little bit. So if it makes contact, of course, it's going to explode. But you can use it again as a little mine, a little scare tactic, and she really seems like she's like kind of meant to be like a trap style character, where things are always going to be kind of getting in your way. You do that, you either roll in, avoid the charge shot, and get hit by the bomb, or avoid the bomb and get hit by the charge shot. So very interesting character that they kind of took what Samus already had and just kind of, made her a little more strategic than Samus, which is just, blast him in your face, blast him in your face, blast him in your face, blast him in your face. And for up special, she no longer has the screw attack. Instead, she has this sort of charge blast forward thing that I just died using. But once again, like her float, it is sort of omnidirectional. You can kind of control it in the directions that the controller allows you, but you can kind of, go any way you want. So you can use it as an attack. Obviously, you can use it as a recovery tool, but, you can recover like this, fully sideways if you don't miss. Fully sideways, you can sort of... It's actually kind of like Fox, Falco, Wolf's up B. and you can go any direction you want. So you can recover from below, you can recover from above probably, yep. So yeah, very, very cool up special. And that is Dark Samus. I don't really think that taunts or anything have really changed too much. So that is the most of the changes. So Roy and Chrom are interesting because they don't have a ton that super changes them. Like, they're not getting full overhauls of their moveset. They're mostly just getting a lot of tweaking. The exception is with Chrom's up special. Up special, if you just tap it, you go flying upwards, sort of like the beginning of his up special, but then it sort of cancels and then you just go into free fall. However, if you hold down up B, you instead do this spin move downward. And you only do that spin move downward if you are if you're holding the input down. So it gives you a little bit more freedom with his up B, because one of the biggest problems with his up B is that you kind of just go straight down no matter what. So sometimes you just are just barely out of range and you kind of just have to fall to your death, and it's not your decision. Whereas if you just tap it here, you kind of get a little bit more aerial mobility on the free fall. So pretty interesting. His side special seems different, but I honestly can't tell what all of the changes are, except for like he gets the colors, which they seem a little brighter. But other than that, I don't really know what changes there are to his side special little combo stuff. I also know that his neutral special, if you do it in the air, can send downwards if you time it just right. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's doing sort of the spike. There we go, the spike move, the spike sound effect, and then of course it actually spiked. So that's something you can do with his neutral special. I don't know if it does it if you're just grounded. I mean, it's sending him in a similar way, but I don't think it's a true spike like that. So other than that, I don't think that Chrom has a ton of changes. I'm sure, you know, someone will tell me how wrong I am, but, you know, from a novice's experience or novice's perspective, I don't really see a ton of changes to his moveset as far as like anything huge. Obviously things are going to spike or whatever. Now Roy has some changes as well, and they largely result in him playing kind of like his Project M and Melee counterparts. He is far more of a Marth clone than he was originally, as you can see from, you know, his down air specifically. But he has some different animations, I believe, for his side special. And obviously, you know, he's got his back air there. He's got the fire following him around more. So very much like his Melee and Project M counterparts. But other than that, nothing like amazing. He doesn't have anything like, you know, Chrom's up special that we got to talk about. But you know, he's just kind of a more streamlined, kind of better version of himself. Oh, I'm learning that you can chain grab in this. Huh. He really is like Melee. While we're talking about Fire Emblem, guys, let's go ahead and talk about Marth and Lucina. So Lucina, as you can see, is pretty different from Marth and from herself in Ultimate. And I want to say this is based on another pre-existing kind of moveset. Like, I've seen this spin move specifically on Brawl and Project M movesets. But I'm not willing to say which one it is, because I would probably be saying wrong. But I know that I've definitely seen this before. So of course her aerials are all very different. Besides neutral air, you've got forward air is a different swipe move entirely. Up air I think is the same, but back air is a more like Roy's actually, if I'm looking at it here. It is a different kind of attack. And then down air is similar, but like she does like a flip, and it's way more than just Marth's, which is pretty cool. Makes her seem far more agile than Marth and Chrom. As far as special moves go, she's still got that. Up special is still Dolphin Slash. Side special I know is a little different. She has only 3, which is interesting. I don't know what the difference is and why they decided to do that, but she only has 3 instead of the standard 4 that all of the other Marth clones have. So Interesting. But yeah, that I don't know what the distinction is other than, you know, just a different amount. And of course now she has the colors as well. So of course you can also see that she has a different idle animation, but if you do down taunt, she puts on her mask and she keeps it on for the remainder of the stock, I believe, unless she gets hit. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's for the entirety of the stock. So that's pretty cool. Again, something that I think should have been, if not a costume, at least a little Easter egg in the actual vanilla game. Instead, she just puts it on and then takes it off, which is like, come on, like it's right there. It's a free little cosmetic thing, and you're not doing it. What's your problem? Marth clearly has some changes. You know, he's got his colorful side B now as well, but I'm not fully sure what they are. They don't stand out kind of immediately. I mean, obviously, if I had to guess, he's going to be more like Melee. But I don't really know. So, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and you know, speculate, but he's obviously going to play different just by virtue of the engine being playing differently as well. So that felt very Melee. So yeah, not a ton of changes with. Oh, that was cool. That was cool. So now, obviously, not a ton of changes with these two, but it's nice that all 4 of the Marth clones feel distinct from one another. Whereas in Vanilla Ultimate, it's just, are you playing Marth? Are you playing Fire Marth? Are you playing Girl Marth? Or are you playing Girl Marth's dad who has Ike's up B? It really does feel now like you are playing 4 different characters, and I do really like that. So Pit and Dark Pit aren't too different, both from each other, but also from their Vanilla Ultimate counterparts. But there are some distinctions that I want to talk about that make both of them, you know, a little different from each other, and also, you know, just play a little bit differently in general. So first are their side specials. So while Dark Pit's side special is largely the same, but obviously with a different knockback angle, Pit's is not. So with Pit, you have to do a side B, and then a second side B input to actually do the attack. So if you don't do the second input, you just kind of go through your opponent and you kind of feel foolish. You have to press it a second time and then you'll be able to do the attack. So that kind of lets you play a little bit of a mind game, kind of. But, you know, I don't know how much of a mind game it is if you are, you know, left wide open while you've got all this end lag on that move. But you do have to press it a second time, and you can sort of do it early if you want, or you can do it at the very end if you want. So you do get the chance to do a little bit of a change up there, whereas with Dark Pit, you cannot press it a second time to activate it. It just hits if it hits, and otherwise it doesn't. So that's the difference with their side B. Their up Bs also are different. So they're a lot shorter than in Ultimate. As you can see, normally you'd be able to be like way down here and be able to get back, but you can see it's just a little bit too short. But with Dark Pits, it actually has a hitbox on it, so you can actually go through them and actually deal damage, which is pretty nice. But with Pits, you do not have that luxury. You just go through them, and no amount of going through them is going to make them get hit. There's no sweet spot at the end or anything. You just don't have a hitbox on it. And I think they're about the same as far as distance goes. So if I do up B here, I get right on basically the middle of the center circle thing. So if I now let Dark Pit do it, he gets basically the same way. So Dark Pit just gets a kind of better up B, which is interesting. The other difference is their down special. Now down special for Pit is basically the same, it just reflects projectiles. So were I to do this and then press B, it would just bounce back at me. Pits, or Dark Pits I should say, is now just a straight up shine. Look at this. You can just use it to like just attack your enemy. Which, here, let me make it so he will have some DI or whatever. But like, look, this is just like Melee. Actually, this is more like Falco's Shine, but it pops them up so you can do that. So they just gave Dark Pit a shine. It's not as good, obviously, you can't like multi-shine with it or anything, but yeah, the Dark Pit, of all the characters, I did not expect to see Dark Pit given a shine, but he's got it. I don't know if, I think he must be able to reflect projectiles as well, right? Hello, Pit, you wanna, oh, I turned off the control. Yeah, it bounces back. So he just has, it probably lasts less time. I don't know. All I know is that Pits does not have shine properties. You go up, it just kind of shoves them out of the way like normal. So for some reason, the devs just loved Dark Pit and just gave him a bunch of different attributes that make him kind of awesome. And I don't know why they did that, but they sure did, and it's funny. So Simon and Richter are so different that they feel like completely different characters, and you wouldn't really guess that one was an Echo Fighter of another. So I'm going to try and be quick about this. So tilts are largely similar, but they do have some different properties. Forward tilt, if you sweet spot it at the very end of the whip, he will have the enemy pop towards him, and you'll know that because they'll have blue fire. Up tilt is sort of just a swipe upward. And then down tilt is once again the slide, but you have to be much quicker to get the sort of leap afterwards. So you can't do that, wait a second, collect all your thoughts, then go flying. You have to be committed to it. So you have to basically double tap the down tilt. Otherwise, you are not going to get that leap outwards. I mean, it is not generous at all. I'm doing hit, hit, and it's not doing it. You have to do hit, hit, and then it goes. So there you go. There's that. Then we've got... smash. Actually, let's do the jab attack. So the jab is now a 3-hit combo with his fist because he is super ready to scrap. His fist and his feet, I should say, because he's ready to scrap. Unlike Simon, who keeps his chain combo. Let's see. Let's do aerials. So neutral air is now this pretty cool attack. And it's pretty wide, too. Hang on, let me let it so he can recover. It's pretty wide, too, so you can hit it from the front or from the back if you are agile enough, which is a pretty cool attack. Forward air, like I said, kind of different, or kind of the same, but again, it has that sort of fire effect that will grab them and send them towards you. So you can kind of, if you sweet spot that, then you can do a cool hit. Oh, spoiler. Neutral air. Up air is now a kick, which is interesting. And then back air is, he grabs like the spiky mace end of the whip and just hits you, rather than using the whip a second time. Now let's do smash attack. So we saw forward smash briefly. It's sort of a fiery whip. I wonder if you get closer, if it still does it. Okay, yeah, it still does it. So what happens if you hit the sweet spot? Doesn't seem like there's a ton of a difference. But maybe that did 20%, that did 15. Okay, so that's going to be the difference. And it's probably going to have similar knockback differences. Up smash is that feels like his old up tilt. Am I wrong? Yeah, okay, I thought so. This is Simon and Richter's old up tilt, but now Richter has it as his up smash, which, you know, that's a clever repurposing of it, since he has a different up tilt entirely. So there's that. Then we've got down smash, which is about the same. I can't really see much of a difference. Probably another sweet spot end of the whip difference, but about the same. And then, of course, let's see special moves. So the big difference is now instead of the axe that they used to throw, Richter now throws these little throwing knives. So it's a very light projectile, sort of like, you know, a Falco laser or something. And if you do it in the air, it does it down at an angle. Oh, that would be so annoying to get edge guarded with. Oh, I just know people do that. And it would make me personally so mad. I know they're doing it just to personally make me mad. But yeah, there's his little throwing knife. Side special is what used to be dash attack. Because dash attack is now this, which I realize now I forgot to cover, but it worked out because that is what his side special is now. And it's just a little quick dash, not too long like the dash attack, but a pretty good side special, I think. Now, down special is still holy water, but now it's like a moving projectile somehow. So you don't have to hit them exactly. They will just hopefully get hit by it because it is constantly moving and is like a quarter of the stage's length. So there's that. Oh, I didn't show down air, but down air is the same. Okay, there you go. And then lastly, we have up special, which, as you can expect, is that. But it does not hit, it does not do the multi-hit like normal. Instead, you just get hit, and then you go flying. So I'm going to try and hit him at the end here. Okay, I didn't really hit him at the end, but you can see that he's not getting caught into it and then getting like 4 hits on. He's just getting hit once and flying away. So again, they're getting rid of multi-hits here. But one of the biggest changes to Richter is that he no longer has the ability to tether grab. So if you try and tether grab onto the ledge, you will not be able to, because that has been completely removed. You have to use your up B. So good luck if you're a Richter player, because he has suddenly become a lot more difficult to recover with, because you cannot do it. I mean, you can recover, but you can't do the tether grab, which is like 99% of the time what Richter and Simon players use to grab the ledge. Now, from what I can see, Simon doesn't have a ton of changes. I'm sure like some of the moves he uses are going to be a little bit different, but for the most part, he seems to be about the same, and he can even still tether recover. So that's something that Simon has over Richter, is that he can actually use his whip in the way that Sakurai intended. Oh, he doesn't have the slide at all. He has a little kick. Okay, I see. Dash attack is also no longer the vanilla one, but his side special is still the Holy Cross. Is that what it's called? Grand Cross. No, what's it called? I don't know. I don't remember. It's still that move, so he doesn't have that little dash attack move at all. So I guess that does kind of make sense, because with Richter, you can use this out there and then use your up B, so you don't really necessarily need your tether, because you can kind of make it back. But with Simon, since he doesn't have that option, he kind of does need his tether. So I think that makes sense overall. But yeah, other than that, Simon feels pretty much the same. So Ken and Ryu are fairly different in the base game, but then HDR has taken that and made them much more different. So I'm going to try and highlight the stuff that I know is very obvious. I'm sure there are different intricacies different between them as well as their base game, like with all of these, but I'm going to do my best here. So the first thing is you can see that the aerials are rather different. So he's got a weird punch move for his forward air instead of the kick. His up air is a bit different as well. He now does a kick upwards instead of a punch. So I kind of traded the forward air and up air. And then back air is this big, like, full 360 move. Almost like it seems like it's based on his side special. But I'm sure it has, it's probably stronger or something when it comes to comparing it to Ryu's. But you can just see the animation is different for sure. And then down air, I believe, is basically the same. So his special moves aren't too different on the surface. He still has both the regular smash version and the command input versions that do different sets of damage. So like the smash version, for example, does 9 to 10%, whereas the command version does, okay, that did 11%, that did 11%, but it's like a bigger move. Same with up special. That is the regular move, does 13%. This is the command version, and that does 15%. But one of the big things is that Ken's neutral special now does an angled version when you do it in the air. And that is true for the command version as well. You can see that's a slightly bigger fireball. So that's pretty cool. Definitely adds another option. And the big thing is that his down special is now totally different. Rather than having the focus, he now has a little bit of a dash. So you can use this in the air to sort of close distance between you and your opponent, or if you're off stage, you can use it as a recovery tool if you don't mess up like me. But you do that, then you do, side special, you do up special, kind of just gives you another option in the air. It also is a decent tool if you want to cross up your opponent in a way that doesn't just have you running through them, because in HDR you can actually do that, which is a change from Ultimate. But I think the biggest utility it has is that you can cancel moves using it. So if I, for example, hit this up smash, I can then press down B, and I can kill the cooldown that I have, the end lag on that move, which is, you know, considerable. Look at the difference between that and then when I can walk, and between that when I actually canceled the animation. So that I think is its biggest utility, is for certain moves you're able to animation cancel or cancel your end lag, and you know, it just makes them closer to a fighting game character. And I want to say you can do that with all kinds of moves, but I don't know all of them. So like, let's see if I did down. Yeah, down smash, you can then cancel it. I don't know if you can do it with like special moves, for instance. Yeah, I don't think so. But for like a lot of your normal moves, you're going to be able to do it, it seems like. But again, I'm no expert, so I could be totally wrong. But it's just, you know, another tool in your toolkit. And then something you'll notice that both Ken and Ryu have is that V meter down in the bottom. Now this is taken, I believe, from Street Fighter V, because V means 5, and I'm pretty sure that's when they came up with this. But as you deal damage, you are going to be able to earn some of this meter here. Now for your special moves, what you can do is hold down B and A. Oh, I've messed up. I forgot that I need that if I reset, I get rid of my V trigger. All right, so now I've got some of my meter filled. So now if I do a normal move, you know, it's just normal. But if I do B plus A, it becomes the EX version, and you can see it's much stronger, and you'll know that you did it because you glow yellow. And I believe it works for all of the special moves. So, you know, there's side special. So, for instance, I can do B plus A on my Shoryuken, and it becomes EX Shoryuken, and it becomes much stronger. Now, both Ryu and Ken have this, so it's not exclusive to Ken's moveset, but I believe, if the meters below are not lying, that Ken gets 3 bars, while Ryu only gets 2. And I'm not sure what the balance decision there was, why that's the case. But, you know, just once again, another thing that makes them different, aside from the fact that they have a whole meter mechanic that simply does not exist in Smash Ultimate. And if you have a full meter, you can actually activate some of their final smashes using V-Trigger. And I will be 100% with you. I don't know how to do it. I tried to find it, and I just can't. So if you'd like to let me know in the comments, that would be awesome. But that is HDR, and that does not even scratch the surface on what this game has in it. If you would like to check it out, I highly recommend it. You will definitely find a character that you mesh with, whether that be playing Melee Falco or playing a completely different Banjo-Kazooie moveset. You're going to have a good time. So I will leave a link down in the description, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Goodbye.